Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Black Ops 3 In Depth. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the Argus shotgun. This used to be my favorite shotgun in the game, but after the patch, it's fallen out of favor a little bit in favor of the KRM-262, but it's still a very good shotgun, and it's a very unique one for Call of Duty in general. It does some things that no other shotgun can do, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the episode, but we're going to start off with what everybody wants to hear first, the damage. It'll deal 50 flat damage at any range. All of the other shotguns in this game have a variation, like a lot up close, a little bit at long range, yada yada. This is just flat damage of 50 at any range that you hit somebody, which is pretty good for shotguns. It's not as good as the KRM, but it is definitely better than both the Haymaker and the Breachy. I've got no issues with that. And it has the highest pellet bonus damage of any shotgun in the game. The pellets will deal 10 damage up close and decrease down to 7 at long or maximum ranges, which is not a very big decrease. Considering that we have 8 pellets, what this means is that your bonus damage can be between 80 and 56, and that is a lot of bonus damage. Like in a lot of the other shotguns, it doesn't matter too much how many pellets you hit, but hitting your pellets, like getting that bonus damage, is what can make or break you on the Argus. The Argus is always going to be a 2-shot kill because of that flat damage that you get with the 50. However, it's usually a 1-shot kill when used properly, and we will be talking about how to use it properly in just a minute. But really, the way you want to go with this gun is you just want to go for the most 1-shot kills you can. Don't go for HIPFIRE, don't go for the 2-shot kills. And the maximum 1-shot kill range is 18 meters, which is awesome. Like, that's really, really long range for a shotgun. That's like the range at which a lot of submachine guns are starting to drop off and be like 5 or 6 shots to kill. That's like range which assault rifles are starting to decrease a little bit in damage. That is excellent shotgun range, and that's one of the other awesome things about the Argus. One of the other cool things is that if you can get hit markers with this weapon, you can get a 1-shot kill at that range. This gun can 1-shot kill at any range that it gets hit markers, so that's basically the max range is 18 meters. That's how I mathed that out. It wasn't too hard to do, and I think that's a really cool thing about it. Another kind of weird thing, like silencer really nukes shotguns. However, it only has 10% less damage for the Argus, except at maximum range. It doesn't affect your max, so the silencer doesn't hurt the Argus very much. It's very much so worth using, depending on if you don't mind getting a few less 1-shot kills. It's not bad at all. It doesn't really even hurt your damage that much. And unfortunately, like most of the shotguns, the headshot multiplier is only 1.0x, which means no bonus damage, which means it's useless at all ranges. Now let's talk about what makes the Argus so good, and that's the fact that when you aim down sights, your pellet spread tightens up infinitely tight and compacts into one dense little slug. The Nuketown example I've got for you today will demonstrate this very clearly. You can already see the base hipfire is very tight. I'm standing back further than I did in other in-depth episodes, but when I aim down sights and shoot, it only makes one little dot. It doesn't technically fire a slug, but it compresses all 8 pellets into one super tight ADS spread, and it's essentially a slug by a different name, right? Like, they just found a neat way to code it to make it shoot slugs when you aim down sights, and that's the way to use this weapon, because as long as you hit that, it can 1-shot kill at any range. It can be extremely effective. It's like really awesome doing that, and I would recommend doing it almost every chance you get, unless like you're panicking or hip firing or something. But yeah, that's the bread and butter of the Argus, the ability to aim down sights and turn them into slug rounds. Rate of fire is a lot like the KRM-262 at 60 rounds per minute, and not super impressive, pretty average for shotguns. It does have a cool lever action though. It makes me feel like a cowboy when I'm shooting it. Rapid fire only makes it shoot 6% faster, so even though it's popular and a lot of people like to use it, I generally don't. I would avoid it. Magazine size is 10 and extended mags is 14. Not bad for a weapon that can 1-shot kill. I very rarely run either extended mags or fast mags because it reloads in a reasonable period of time too. I feel that this weapon is infinitely better with optics. The iron sights on it are average at best, right? Like, I can use them if I have to, but when you get a red dot sight, a boa sight, or especially like an ELO sight, this shotgun just gets so much better because it allows you to be so much more precise when you're aiming down sights, and it gets you a lot more 1-shot kills. I would always recommend running optics on this shotgun. Recoil's not really applicable in this case because by the time you're ready to follow up with a second shot, it's pretty much always going to be resettled. The hipfire spread is very tight. It's the only shotgun in the game that has a different hipfire spread than any of the others, and it's naturally a very tight hipfire spread, making it very easy to hipfire with if you can aim kind of without the, sticky aim of ADS, all that kind of stuff. And it's very effective. Because of that, laser sight sight is really optional. Like, you don't have to have it. It's nice. I'm going to recommend it on one of my 3 classes at the end of this in-depth episode, but the hipfire spread is tight enough where you really don't need the laser sight in the same way that you need it on other shotguns. Aim down sights time is 216 milliseconds, which is a little bit faster than average, thank goodness, because we're going to be doing it a lot, but I am going to recommend running a quick draw grip most of the time, because most of the time you really want to ADS on this weapon to get those guaranteed one-shot kills. As we discussed earlier, reload time is 2.2 seconds. That's normal for the class, if not just a smidgen faster. Not such a big deal, but you've got a big magazine and it reloads in a reasonable period of time, so I really don't need fast mags on the gun. Like the other shotguns, it has 0 wall penetration factor, making it impossible to wallbang with without FMJ. Kind of surprising. I mean, I thought that for a high damage shotgun they'd at least give it a low wall penetration factor, but according to the code, it should be impossible to wallbang with. As for my opinion on the Argus, this gun is the KSG reimagined for Black Ops 3. The community really wanted a slug firing shotgun. They really wanted the KSG back, so they brought it back in the form of the Argus. Unfortunately, it's not very consistent. Before the shotgun patch, it was probably the most consistent. Shotguns really weren't very great before the patch, but now it's probably the least consistent. Sometimes this gun is awesome. Sometimes I wreck people and get one-shot kills at crazy ranges, even with hipfire. Sometimes my aim is on point and I can dink people in the body or the head or whatever, doesn't matter, kills them in one shot. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes this gun really just hates me and it's not on my side. It hates my children, my family, and my dogs, and it just doesn't seem to cooperate at all, and I miss shots that I think I should hit. The Argus is arguably the highest risk-reward weapon in the entire game, and it's definitely the highest risk-reward shotgun in the entire game. It's by far the hardest to use and get the most benefit out of. However, if you put in the time to master it, to really, truly master the weapon and get good at it, get good at the handling, get good at the snap aiming, at the one-shot kills and all that kind of stuff, it can be extremely, extremely powerful. A lot of people even would say overpowered. Now, as for what I think is best on the weapon, this is a shotgun that can be run 3 totally different ways, so I'm going to have 3 different classes to recommend for you here on In-Depth. Class number 1 is what I'm going to call your standard Argus class. You want to run quick draw, stock, and optics. It should make sense. You want a quick draw to aim down sights as fast as humanly possible. You want stock, it just increases your handling, lets you aim with the left stick or your movement keys and kind of peek around corners. It's very nice on this shotgun. And optics, obviously, for more precision. Whatever optics you want, I prefer ELO, but you can run BOA or whatever it is that you feel like. Class 2 is very different. It's just going to be laser sight and gung ho. So the weapon already has very tight hipfire spread, and when you put laser sight on it, it gets basically absurdly tight to the point where, with the exception of pretty long range, there's no point in aiming down sights, and you can get some very impressive hipfire kills on the Argus just with the laser sight and probably sprinting by them with the gung ho. Really, you should try it. It's scary sometimes. Class number 3 is you're going to take a silencer plus either class number 1 or number 2. The Argus has the least silencer penalty of any shotgun in the game, and honestly isn't that bad with a silencer, so you can basically take either the 2 classes I just showed you, slap a silencer on it, slap ghost on it, and you should be good to go for some silenced shotgun fun. Guys, that is all for this in-depth episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. The previous episode was on the Haymaker, and the next one I have to keep top secret for now. Drifter out.